Hi everybody, it's Regional Master Instructor Luke Graham. I had a request from a student to talk about heavy bags. I've got a selection of heavy bags here. This is just a couple of them. There's a few more over there. A couple I've inherited, a couple I've bought, a couple I've given to other people. You can send them back if you like, by the way. And there's a couple that I've just picked up around the place. I even got one off the side of the road once. So I've got a selection of 4 bags here for you to look at today and talk about what I sort of get out of using them and why I like each one. Now, remembering that a regular boxing bag might not be the right bag for us. I've kicked a lot of bags in the gym in my travels, and some of them I like far more than others. A lot of you will be aware of your regular hanging bag. Here's a selection of 3. This one here is a very light bag. This is probably only about sort of 15 kilos at the most. This is probably one of my favourite bags. The reason I like it, you can see it's quite narrow, so compared to the width of me, it's quite a narrow bag. What I like about that is this bag deforms a lot and it doesn't give too much resistance. So as someone who hits the heavy bag a bit, if I want longevity in my knee joints and my hip joints, if I'm hitting a big heavy bag all the time, it's going to put too much stress on the joint, particularly for something like spinning heel kick, when you're hitting that bag backwards and it's putting strain on your knee joint to try and hyperflex it in the wrong direction. So the tall, thin bag, if I look at the height, that comes only to my waist. So it's quite a small bag. So this bag here I quite like. A second bag, this one here, similar weight, that's sort of 15 kilos. Anything up to about 20 kilos I reckon is a really good bag for kicking. I've got 2 of these. These are very small. You can see I always put targets on my bags, just some masking tape. The reason I do is that I hang the bag at a given height and I'm always shooting for a target. When I'm running free sparring exercises, I'll often stop people and say, I want you to pick a target and shoot. Pick a target and shoot. Am I going for someone's knee? Am I going for quadricep? Am I going for groin? Am I going for solar plexus, floating ribs, sternum, shoulder, face? You need to pick your target and shoot at the target. So by using this really helps. This bag also is quite short. There's my knee there, so it's only just above knee high. This bag's great. I can change the height of this bag and really get a lot of good training value out of it. So I really like this bag to hit. It doesn't deform as much as that bag. When I say deform, this bag will almost fold in half when you hit it hard enough. This bag won't. It's quite tightly packed. With most bags too, by the way, they have a zip on the top so you can remove stuffing from them. You can buy some bags unstuffed and you stuff them with what you want. You could stuff it with old towels, just old clothing, which you can go to Vinnie's, places like that. They've always got clothing that they're throwing out. You can just go and get free clothing from there, stuff your heavy bag with that. Or if you buy one that's too heavy, you can take out whatever they've put in there that's heavy and restuff it with something really light. So remember, if you get hold of a cheap bag somewhere, consider restuffing it. This one has a zip, as you can see. I think actually all my bags have zips on them. Next one is this one over here. This is a Jeff Fenech bag. This is a boxing bag specifically. I reckon this one is probably about 40 or 50 kilos. It's quite a heavy bag and it's really solid. So when I hit this bag, this is hard. And if I hit this with a front kick, a spinning heel kick, something like that, you're going to know about it. Your joints know you've just hit something. So again, as I say, you can hit a bag as heavy as you like. The thing is longevity. If you want to do bag training for many, many, many years, you don't want to be hitting an absolute brick of a bag. So this bag at around the 40 to 50 kilos, that on itself is not such an issue, but it's a very solid bag. What I should do actually is repack this bag. I should empty it out. I think there might be some sand or something running down the centre of it. I should just empty it out and just stuff it with, as I say, throwaway clothes from Vinnie's or Salvos or something like that. So this one, not my favourite bag, but it does have its purposes. I've done a couple of videos of flying sidekick over the years, and I've used this bag to hit, because for flying sidekick it's not too bad, whereas these ones they just fly away a little bit too quickly. So those are hanging bags. We'll have a look shortly at how we hang them. What I'll do is I'll just shift them off to the side for a second, and we'll have a look at a standing bag. Just before I do look at the standing bag, if you're a person who likes to do bag workouts where you're doing a lot of punching, it's a good idea to use mitts. You don't have to, but it's a good idea. This is an Everlast Evergel heavy bag mitt that's in an MMA style glove. So I bought these in the US. I've got a couple of pairs of them. You could use a pair of regular MMA style gloves, but these have a gel knuckle on them. So they come with a wrist wrap. Wrist wrapping is not a bad idea. If I'm using these, I'll wrap them very firmly like that. That's now locked my wrist. About 50% of its motion is gone now. I'm less likely to roll my wrist. If you punch the bag and you roll your wrist as you hit, if you hit off center it rolls, that hurts. You're going to strain your wrist and it takes a while to get over. With this one here now, that's now allowed me to make a full fist, whereas a boxing glove does not. A boxing glove gives you a clawed fist. If you watch boxers when they're playing around, they do it with open hands, because that's a boxer holding with a glove on, looks like that. Martial artist, that's the fist we make. Boxer's fist, our fist. This one allows me to make a martial artist's fist, which is what I want. So my muscle memory, my proprioception are all correct. So these aren't too bad. As I say, these are Everlast Evergel heavy bag mitts from the US. I think I paid about $25 US for these. So a pair of those, not a bad thing. If I'm just doing a little bit of a workout down here, I generally won't wear them. If I want to do a long bag session, I'll wear these. Now, this is the standing bag. I was given this by a friend. It was quite funny. A friend of ours bought it for about $25, but she didn't want it and just said, "Here, have this." So I did. Thankfully, it was very, very nice, very, very kind gesture. Now, you can fill these with water, but I've got sand in here, and the sand is only about halfway up. The reason it's only halfway up is that it makes it very light. You can see one finger, I can push it over like that. If I hit this, this will go over. If you hit it gently, it'll come back to you. But if you hit it, see, if I hit it a little bit harder, it's just on the verge of going over. If you fill this right up, it'll give you a lot of resistance, and again, makes it a little bit harder on your joints. So I like this a bit less full. Now the more popular brand bags, you could be paying $150 for these. I know that the ones with the bob on them, the sort of man torso thing on them, they're $250 minimum. You may find a second-hand one somewhere. There are cheap versions of these on the web on eBay that I've seen for about $130, which I've had a couple of students buy. If you keep an eye out, you can buy these second-hand. But these I like, and the other thing about them is that you can change the height. So this comes off and it's got 3 height settings. So there's the highest position there. And so I quite like this. I bring it down to the lowest position. That's the last one there. So this is good. Only problem I have with this sometimes is that because the base sticks out a long way, if I'm doing an exercise where I'm stepping in, I've got to watch out it doesn't land back on my foot. And so in a couple of the instructional videos I've done, you'll see me saying that I'm making my stance a bit weird because I don't want to get my toes crushed by the bag. So this is quite good. I like this. It's good for, if you haven't got hanging space, this is good. These work really, really well. And over the years, particularly when I'm teaching people spinning heel kick, if I'm here in the shed just giving someone a one-on-one lesson, oops, I'll try and get it to work for me. If I'm giving someone a one-on-one lesson, we'll use this one here because that's a lovely target for them to shoot at. I can stand on the other side and watch them kicking through, and as their kick comes through, I can see their body and see the bag. I haven't got chains in the way. Let's just talk now about hanging a bag. Now to hang a bag, I use chain and carabiners. So all you need is some light chain and a couple of carabiners. That's a D-shackle there. D-shackle's fine, carabiners are fine. I've got chains all over this shed because we normally have bags hanging all through. This is a shearing shed, by the way. We normally have bags hanging all through the shed. So when I hang a bag, I simply set the chain. It's very important, you don't want the end of the chain whipping around. So I hang the bag up, and then I normally say, where's my belt height? And put roughly 2/3 of the way down the bag. So here's the top, here's 2/3 of the way down, is roughly where I have it. The reason I do that is that I don't want to kick the bottom of the bag because there's often a zip there or something and you'll rip your foot open. But when I'm doing a front kick or a side kick, if I hit the bag here, the bag flies really nicely. If you hit near the top, it's going to do that. If you hit near the bottom, it's going to do that. And the bottom is often very, very solid. Again, it's not good for your joints. So around about here. You can see I've got electrical tape around the bag, and that's just to make this vinyl skin last a bit longer. Gaffer tape's really good. Get a roll of gaffer tape. Gaffer tape your bag, not too hard, otherwise you turn it into a rock. But and this is just electrical tape, and then I've got a few target marks on there. So hanging the bag, I've hung it so I've used the entire chain. There's no loose ends of chain. If you have a bit of chain hanging down and you kick, there's a chance of that whipping and hitting your foot, so not a good idea. Some people don't have much space to hang. Now, as far as height goes, so I'm 178 high, so you can see it's a fair way up there to the ceiling. It's probably about, I'm going to take a wild guess at about 8 feet. 8 feet up to the ceiling there. That gives the bag a nice swing. Your bag doesn't have to be able to swing too much. That's not really an issue. If this bag was tied up here, that'd be quite okay. It just means that if I am asking the bag to swing, it's going to have a much faster swing. Okay? So that's not such an issue. The distance that it can swing, that is the only time that really matters is that if the swing is less than your kick. If you buy like a Everlast brand bag with a stand, where you've got that stand that comes out up and over and the bag hangs on the top, you've got to be careful not to hit the stand with your feet. You've got to be careful that if you hit the bag with a deep side kick and that bag swings out, that it doesn't whack into the back. So you might hit it through at 45 degrees or something to allow that bag a little bit of swing when you hit it. Some of you who've seen me doing things like side kick video or flying side kick videos will see that the bag swings up and pretty much hits the roof. If you've got the bag going to hit the wall here, so this is about 1.5 meters to the wall. If I was to hit that against the wall, then that's going to be a problem. Because if I were to fly through, the bag's going to hit the wall. I'm going to end up wearing the wall through the bag. So you do have to be a bit careful there. You want to make sure that if you're going to do big techniques like flying side kicks and things, that you do have some space. Also, if you're doing big strong techniques like really using your hips and slamming through big chopping kicks and things, that bag's going to want to swing a bit. You don't want the bag to hit a backstop and jar all the way through your body. So swing space, if you can get swing space at about that, that's probably good. I would say that's I'd be comfortable with that for just about everything that I do. So that's just a simple talk on heavy bags. As I say, sub 20 kilos is my favourite. I do like this bag here because it will deform a little bit, as I say. The smaller bag I don't mind at all. And remember, you can re-stuff bags. So go down to your local waste station. So here in Canberra, at the Canberra dump, they have a thing called the Green Shed. And it's where there's a whole bunch of recycling, bicycles, sporting gear, all sorts of stuff. there are always bags there. And I've gone to the dump and I've got a lot of bags for other people. We've got students who want a bag and maybe can't afford one. I've just swung past the dump on my way home from somewhere, had a look, pick up a bag for $5, $10 and give it to them. These bags, generally from the dump, you get one for about $5-10. If you go to Big W or Target or something like that, you'll pay about $65 or $70 for a 60 kilo Spalding or Dunlop bag. They have quite a thin skin on them, and of course it all goes up from there. You can buy the big tall bags that are on a stand with numbers all over them, and then you get a DVD, I guess, which will have boxing combinations on there. And you can buy other sorts of bags as I've shown you. So good luck with your heavy bag. Just remember, look after your hands, look after your knuckles. Long heavy bag sessions with no hand protection, you end up with quite fluidy knuckles. You really feel the swelling in your knuckles. And long term, that's not a good thing. So the gloves, as I mentioned, or even just getting some gel wraps. You can buy very simple, cheap gel wraps to use on the heavy bag. Have a talk to your instructor. Your instructor might be able to point you in the right direction for somewhere to buy some gel wraps just to look after your knuckles when you're hitting the bag. And as far as kids hitting heavy bags, they should have hand protection. They've got small bones. Their growth plates and things aren't set yet, so we do have to look after them. So they shouldn't be whacking the bag continually. It's just not good for them. All right, have a good day. See you all again soon.